Okay, so this is part 2 of my channeling with the Arcturians. If you missed the other video, you can go back and watch that one. The one that preceded this. It was about self-service and service to others, as well as they gave a formula of guiding us how to find our mission, how to understand action from the heart space rather than the ego space. I wanted some clarification about the event in the solar flash. I do want to add that I am getting some insights that we are very, very close. One thing that the Arcturians are saying is that half the people, about 50% are ready. And I'm going to go further into that. But we are accelerating at a very fast pace, and we're getting there soon. Soon, right? I mean, we're getting some really, really intense energies. And come December 21st is a very significant date. And that, I believe, is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. It is also the, winter solstice. And some planets are lining up to, like, Saturn. I want to say Saturn and Jupiter, but there's a lot going on that date. And there's just a really, really intense things going to happen, coming up this end of this year. So okay, so I connected with the Arcturians about this and just wanted to get some more information about the new Earth. And they clarified about dimensions, because we're going into the 5th dimension, right? So, and where did the 4th dimension go, right? Good question. Okay, so I asked about that too. So, dimensions, this makes a lot of sense, but sometimes you're like, oh, that makes sense, but I never really thought about it this way. Okay, so dimensions aren't places, okay? They are and they're not. So, we're in the third dimension, right? And we are here, in a place, but it's really what keeps us in this place, okay? It is because of our vibration. We have a certain density. And what they describe that as is there's a certain threshold, like there's a spectrum, okay? So there's like, I'm just going to make up some numbers, okay, because I really don't know. Let's say it's like from like 20,000 hertz to 50,000 hertz, and that's the 3D, okay? I'm just throwing out numbers. I don't know what it is, but people talk about hertz all the time, okay? But you can look that up. I have heard, there's certain there's certain frequency hertz, but it's like a span, and if our collective here on Earth spans certain frequencies, okay? So like, yeah, there's people low on the low end, okay? So they're gonna have very low vibration, and then there's people who are high, especially as they rise, and the gap is getting really bigger, okay? So as people rise, there's some people that are not rising and they're staying at the low end, and so the gap is getting wider. And so once we get so high that we reach the barrier, that's when we go to the new earth. And it's a collective thing. So it's when the collective of the planet rises and it reaches the barrier, like, whoa, like, okay, now as a collective together, we have accumulated so much frequency that we can no longer exist in the third dimension. We hit that barrier, we hit the wall. So, how do I explain this? A good example. This is a really, really dumb example. But let's say I'm in this room and I have a big balloon and I keep blowing it and blowing it and blowing it, and then somebody else blows their balloon. There's a few people and we keep blowing our balloon, but then there's over here little Johnny, and little Johnny isn't blowing his balloon. Well, eventually we're gonna expand our balloon. Imagine like a balloon that never pops. Well, actually, no, imagine a balloon that does pop. You're blowing your balloon so much, everybody blows their balloon, the room just cannot contain all these balloons, and then pop. You have to then expand to a different room and space. But they're very clear that these dimensions exist already. So all the span of vibrations exist. So that vibration of the new earth, of 5D, exists already. It's not like a space that's going to be created for us. It's just that we're going to then have a different experience because we have risen to the ability to see that frequency, that vibration. I hope that makes sense. So that place exists already. And it's not really a place because, everything's kind of an illusion anyways. Everything exists at once, basically, okay? We're just going to have that capability because we basically outgrew ourselves. But, so it doesn't matter about, like little Johnny. Little Johnny didn't blow his balloon, but we still went to the new earth, right? And then, I asked the question, what about little Johnny? Okay, so let's get into what the Arcturian said. So, okay. I'm kind of jumping ahead there with little Johnny, but basically what they're saying, okay, that right now we have 50% of the population that is ready for the new earth. Yeah, that's only half. Today. But we're ascending at an accelerated rate, so it's gaining momentum. So that number is going to grow. And so the people who are still not at that level, and when the new earth happens, most likely it's going to be the minority, but still I don't know how much that's going to be. They don't know either, really. They're just, the trajectory is that we will have the majority ready to go to the new earth. And the ones who haven't reached that level, because it's like they're not ready to graduate. Basically, if you think about Earth being a school, we're ready to graduate high school, go to college. And some aren't going to pass. and they're going to have to retake high school. And it's, I mean, when I really took this in, because, you know, I've heard before, you know, not everybody's going to make it, and I mean, it really kind of hits you once you really comprehend that not everybody's going to go, and they will have to retake their lessons. They're going to have to do 3D again. And it is pretty sad. And I know that, you know, the light workers really want to get as many people as they can. But yeah, they're going to have to do the reincarnation cycle again. And I mean, on one hand, it is very sad, and on the other hand, it's, you know, it is an illusion. That's the way I kind of see it too. You know, life, all of it is an illusion, and I mean, we're infinite beings. There is no time, and so how long it takes is how long it takes. However, I also see this from the other side of, man, I don't want to do that again. So I see it as a unity, oneness, compassion, and that would really suck. And it's sad if somebody hasn't understood and they had that opportunity to understand, or they had the opportunity to work on themselves, and they, you know, so people all the time view the new earth as, please save me. I want it to happen now. Okay, so on one hand, okay, if you're making a statement like that, and you're saying, hey, I want to be saved, this is too hard, you might be one of these people, I'm going to say it outright, you might be one of these people that aren't ready for the new earth, and you might have to reincarnate over it. You don't want that to happen. You don't want the new earth to happen, and then where you would have had time to still learn your lessons and then move on. And then you have it on the other hand, what about these people who could have had more time to learn their lessons and graduate? So we don't want to rush this. However, I do think that we are getting very close. That's what they're telling me. Which, it's a good thing, okay? It's a good thing, and we don't want to hold ourselves back either. But we do want to make sure that we are ready. And then the Arcturians said that they can see all possibilities, all timelines, and multiple potentials, because in the 11th dimension, they're not held back by time and space, but yet we have free will. So I don't know exactly how that works, right, from a 3D perspective, but I can imagine, you know, if you think about, my mind went to geometry. If you see sacred geometry, maybe like the Metatron cubic star and things like that, about how it's just so multi-layered, and so they can see potentialities in our timeline, and they expressed how there has been multiple events and that they could see multiple events. And very interesting, right? Like other timelines. And they repeated this twice to me. Your planet reflects you. Your planet reflects you. So basically, our timeline that we're on reflects us and our collective. And I was like, what do you mean the planet reflects me? So, like, is this individualized? I wondered, is this individualized where I would have my own event? Somebody else would have some other event? And they said the planet is one unit in space and time. So the collective of the planet is essentially a being, and it holds one frequency. And so it has, that's what they're talking about. So to think of it as a unit. So if you think about you are the planet, and then you got all the cells. This is another understanding that I read, and then I asked the Arcturians just for confirmation. And I did not understand this. So people talk about the central sun, and I was like, talk about the central sun. What is this central sun? And for a while I thought it was actually the central sun in the core of the planet. I thought that, because they talk about there being a sun in inner Earth, and when they said the galactic sun, I did not know what they meant. And then, boom, it hit me, and synchronicity, because I keep coming across it now, this idea, okay? So basically the central sun it's the center of the galaxy. And this is a black hole. So this black hole, okay, which is like, like a very condensed, it's like a unity consciousness there in the middle of the galaxy. And okay, so there's this central sun in the middle of the galaxy, and we're in a spiral galaxy. And I asked for clarification about this, and the Arcturians confirmed that yes, this is accurate. This is the way they said this is accurate. From our information, they said, from our perspective. As in their perspective and mine, they said it was accurate in that they were in agreement of this view. So the Earth is in a spiral galaxy, and our solar system is going through this spiral towards the central sun, towards the center of the universe, towards this black hole. And we're getting closer and closer. And so as we rise, we're getting closer to this central sun, which I'm kind of gathering is a whole bunch of like energy, and the energy is like affecting us coming from the central sun. Now so we're in a rise because we're going towards, and we were having a fall, right? The fall, the ascension after Atlantis, we had a fall, and we were moving away from the central sun. Now we're moving back, and that's what the age of Aquarius is about, is we are moving towards the central sun. And when the flash happens, this is interesting. When the flash happens, my understanding is that the flash comes from the central sun. The energies come from the central sun, and it's going to hit not just us, but all our entire solar system. However, when it hits us, what's going to happen is the energies are going to go into the core of the planet, and then the core of the planet is then going to, basically kind of light up, right? And it's going to then bounce back out around the Earth. So it comes from the central sun to the core of the planet, bounces back out to reshape the Earth and reshape us. So that makes sense to me. At least that just resonated with me. And then they said that all people will see this flash, but everybody's going to see it differently. So my perspective of it is going to be different than your perspective. And I asked, will people be afraid? And they said yes. And earlier, this was before channeling the Arcturians, I was channeling my personal Pleiadian guides, Aleha, and I was just meditating and asking about what I got was that on the day of the flash, I would hear sirens. I think people are gonna be like, what is going on? And we'll have some sirens. But they said you don't have to go outside, you don't have to attend to that. And I said that I would see it blue. But when I'm gathering, the Arcturians said that there would be many colors are possible, and it depends on the energy that you're capable of holding, and your awareness. So you could see many colors, different colors. Everybody will be different, but everybody will see it in some way. And then there is a big split between who's ready and who's not. So some people are, being held back with very low, and then, there's a big gap. So the people might be really up here. Oh, and I should add about the fourth dimension. I forgot about that. So I did ask about the fourth dimension because there's some references saying that we're going to go into the fourth dimension. The Raw Collective spoke about that in the 80s, though. And they said we're going to transcend into the fourth dimension. And this is just what I get when I channel. They are telling me that they decided to bypass the fourth dimension in that we're going to go into the fifth dimension, and they're using the fourth density because there's a difference between a dimension and a density. So a density is a certain frequency, and dimension is like the place, the experience, the reality, okay? Because of this being such a gap and them wanting to help as many people as they can, as in bring about as many people to graduate and harvest as they can, they decided to basically create the 4D. So they kind of held off and postponed this solar flash, the new Earth, so that they can get as many people as possible. And so they created the fourth dimension. So some people are rising and they were, hitting the barrier, and they're like, we don't want to hold them back, but we want to reach the people down below. So they created the fourth density as a bridge. So basically they widen the gap. Okay, so these individuals here in the fourth dimension, and if you're watching this, you probably, I'm just going to guess, that you probably at times, maybe not all the time, have been in the fourth dimension. And so basically you have that capability of seeing multiple perspectives at the same time, might have gifts, awareness, that sort of thing. Capabilities that other people don't, awareness and things of the fourth dimension. So they basically, they didn't want to hold people back, but they basically kind of, like I said, there's a spectrum of, this hurts to this hurts, and so that they widened it, as in the planet's now capable of holding more energies, but without actually shifting and changing to another dimension. So the new Earth, my understanding anyway, is just what I'm getting, is that it will be the 5th dimension. And so, okay, and they just said, nobody can move on until they learn. So unfortunately, people can't bypass, they can't skip, like let's say they're in 5th grade, and they're not going to skip to college. They just unfortunately can't do that. So, okay, this is where it gets pretty interesting here. So, because 50% of the planet is ready, and they say that it's soon, they're predicting that we're going to be ready for this new Earth soon, because they have planned a mass awakening, because they want to bring as many as possible to the new Earth. And okay, so I asked about this mass awakening, like, is this a catastrophe? What is this? And what I get is it's basically information. So it's not something that really happens. It's like an information of something that is going on currently. That's what I'm just getting. They weren't too specific on it, but it's some sort of disclosure. And okay, this is where it gets interesting, you guys. Okay, so at this point, okay, I want you to just have an open mind and not take this as necessarily like my views. I'm just reporting to what I am receiving, okay? At this point, I could tell it was not the Arcturians anymore that I got this information. It was more of kind of like when you have a psychic moment. So it was just like a bunch of information that was kind of like downloaded. And I am not a political person. I just want to put that out there. Most of the time I don't vote. Okay, and I just wanted to clear that. And when I give you this information, I'm not telling you what to do, okay? And I'm not telling you how to proceed with this, okay? However, this is what I got, okay? This disclosure has to do with Donald Trump, okay? So he is going to give some sort of information. It has to do with Donald Trump. And this is just what I get, okay? This doesn't mean it's accurate at all, right? Because psychic information is not always accurate. I'm just a reporter, okay? So I just want to be clear, if I'm not a Republican, I'm not a Democrat. I tend to not like politics in general. But Donald Trump, okay? And then I got some information, some words, okay? Because I'm more of a claircognizant, clairsentient. So, but I wasn't feeling it was just like information. So I got press conference, State of the Union, mass hysteria, planned erection, this weird terminology, right? I don't use these words. And planned erection, I get like erecting something, like building something. And state of panic, building a wall to protect us from hate. Catastrophe, planet needs the wall for mass awakening. And a gaze upon the union. And then just some sort of project. Okay, so there has been talk about child trafficking. So I don't know if this is about that, and I'm not an expert in any of that. But there has been talk about the possibility of Donald Trump protecting us with the wall and taking action about the child trafficking. And anyways, okay, so I got all that. And I do want to just report, okay, so I checked in with the Arcturians after that. I'm like, what the heck? What was that? Okay, and they say, that Donald Trump is taking a stance of neutrality. Okay, so because I'm questioning, is he a light being? Is he a light, he's taking a side of neutrality. That's what they said. And he is a holder of knowledge, and they're using him as basically a portal of information from the divine. They use the term divine too. So what I got from that is that information is coming to him, like he knows a lot, like he's just, they're using him basically like a tool to help proceed with the ascension. Like they're using him, and it doesn't really have to do with him himself, it's just how he's being used. And they did say, okay, I'm just a reporter, that he is the best candidate, but they are not telling us to vote. They said he's the best candidate for the ascension and the awakening process because he is a catalyst. That's the word they use. He's a catalyst. And I do want to add too, this afterwards, after all this, I looked at my clock and it was 111. I've been seeing 111 a lot, but that was just like, that's when I ended, is 111, 111. That was a lot. That was longer than I thought. It was a lot longer than I thought. Take that with what you will. Yet again, I'm not telling you to do anything. Like I said, I'm not political. I do not like the government. I'm just going to put that out there. But I'm reporting what I received, and please use your heart discernment to proceed in, the most loving way that you have within yourself. So, all right, I hope you have a good day, and I love you very much. Thank you for watching.